Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So within this week's video, I'm going to share with you how to create your own pendulum mark making painting and how you can use this using household items. So if it is that you don't know what a pendulum painting is, it's usually a painting which is created using marks from a paint tub which is attached to a piece of string which is then pushed. So one dilemma which you may have is that you might not have a paint tub with paint in it. So what I suggest is that you use maybe a little tub or a carton, maybe a yogurt pot, and then attach some string to it as a way to start the ball rolling. So in my case today, I'm going to use some film canisters which used to have film in, now not, and now I'm going to pierce the bottoms so that the paint can pour out. And then, depending on how big you make the holes within the containers in relation to the ink, paint or whatever mediums you use as a way to create these marks, you'll have something that looks a bit like this. And so taking that now all into consideration, now in the next part of the video, I'm going to show you how to set up and create your own. Step 1. Take your container and at the bottom pierce some holes. You might consider using a pin if it is that you feel that the plastic's a bit too thick, but if it is that you've got a bigger container and it's a bit more thin, you might want to cut out the holes instead. So depending on how big the holes are will depend on how much ink or paint goes through, which then depends on how it will affect the entire painting. Step 2. Attach some string to the container. And to stop it from going anywhere, what you might want to do is, once you've wrapped it around, add some sticky tape to the side to keep it in place. So once you've done, you'll have something that looks a bit like this. At the moment it might be on a slight angle, so what you'll need to do is do the same again but on the other side to keep it all in balance. And then you'll stick this one down here whilst you have that one there. And then you should have something that looks like that. Step 3, attach this to a chair. So what you're going to do, you're going to stick this to the chair at the bottom. So one handy tip for you is not to use a chair that's very precious to you, because if so, you're just going to ruin it with all the paint and ink or whatever it is that you use to create your painting. So my advice is to use maybe a chair that you've got lying about in the cupboard, in a garage somewhere or in a shed, and use that instead. And then you should have something that looks a bit like this. And if it is that it's dragging on the floor, what it is that you might want to do is use some more sticky tape to lift it up a bit. And then step 4, finally add paint to your container once you've got some paper underneath. And whilst you might find there's more splodges, you might want to then start attaching maybe pens or pencils or a wooden stick to this and start swinging that about the painting to create a more variety of marks. And what you might find, these sticks might be a bit heavier, so you might just want to push them out and into the ink and just see what marks start to be formed. the moment I'm feeling that these sticks aren't really doing the pendulum sort of thing that I want it to do because they're too heavy. So what I might do now is try some other lighter materials and attach these instead to see what other marks I can form over the ones that I've already got. So now I've just changed the sticks over to some dry flowers that I had, and I'm using the stems to then make some more marks. So another reason why I really like this technique is because in some places you'll get more spaced out marks, whereas others they're a lot more dense. I feel that if we try to draw by hand, we can never achieve marks such as this. However, it's only when we start to take an interest in materials and how we can use them in different ways that we get some really interesting marks if we put our minds to it. And as we come towards the end of this week's video, my question to you today is, have you found these tips at all useful, and will you be using pendulum painting at all in the future? If so, please be sure to pop your thoughts about it in the comments, and if it is that you'd like to be kept up to date in regards to any hints, tips and tutorials going forward, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and hope to see you next week everyone. Take care, see you later.